Super Mario Galaxy 2 has finally made its way onto the Nintendo Switch 2 for Mario's 40th anniversary. Oh, and Super Mario Galaxy 1 got re-released for the third time. It's kind of wild that Nintendo gave us a full 3D All-Stars collection half a decade ago, and now finally decided to do a full Galaxy collection, despite Galaxy 1 already being on Switch. But I picked both up anyway, not just because I wanted an excuse to replay Galaxy for the millionth time, but because this re-release does something really special. It gives Galaxy 2 the clarity and resolution it always deserved. It holds up surprisingly well against modern Nintendo games visually. That said, there's a lot more going on here than just better textures and shinier planets. From revamped visuals to small gameplay tweaks, let's get straight into it. Since I already mentioned graphics and performance, I feel like it's only appropriate to start with that, since this is probably the biggest change to the game other than the small story additions. I've definitely played more Galaxy 2 out of this collection specifically, and since I've already seen how good Galaxy 1 can look on multiple occasions, whether that be through Dolphin or 3D All-Stars, Galaxy 2 on the other hand, I've only really played through a CRT on the original Wii for the most part. Galaxy 2 wasn't my go-to for Wii games back then, so I rarely played it. Since I had a CRT, the quality was also pretty atrocious. I tried Galaxy 2 for a bit on the Wii U in widescreen, which was a nice addition, but it didn't reel me back in. Now finally being able to see the game and its skyboxes in clear 4K, I never got to appreciate how beautifully crafted Mario Galaxy 2 is. The texture work on every skybox makes the atmosphere of Galaxy 2 so much more immersive, especially showing off the darker colors and stars. Most of these skyboxes are genuinely background worthy. They updated the models quite a bit as well. Mario finally has detailed pants, because that's what Mario Galaxy has been missing all this time. It looks janky as hell when you collect a star though. The texture work on the UI looks great. Now, every now and then I would find a texture that wasn't up-res like the rest, which did look really out of place, especially when it was the background. Like, I can see the stars overlapping with each other on this background specifically, which is pretty odd. There's also this game-breaking blue screen glitch where if you enter a pipe, you'll enter the other side, go invisible, and then the entire screen goes blue. You then have to restart your game to turn all the pipes back to normal. It's incredibly weird, and I don't get how Nintendo didn't find out about it already, but hopefully they fix it at some point. Overall though, Galaxy 2 looks so much better on Switch compared to the Wii version, and I know this is mainly the hype factor of Galaxy 2 finally getting an official re-release on Switch 2, which is why Galaxy 1 doesn't really surprise me as much graphically. Like, yeah, I could say the same about Galaxy 1, it lived and died on atmosphere since it wasn't always a parkour challenge heavy game like Galaxy 2. So yes, Galaxy 1's textures and skyboxes also look amazing, but I really don't think the difference between 3D All-Stars and this could be that noticeable unless you told me to look at both for several minutes. I think this section can be kept pretty short considering what opinion is there to express that hasn't already been said about this OST. It's probably my favorite soundtrack of all time. The orchestrated tracks while in space are the foundation for the atmosphere in Mario Galaxy games, especially Mario Galaxy 1, which, like I said before, lived and died in its atmosphere. So many tracks deserve recognition. Mario Galaxy 1 had a powerful lineup, but some of my absolute favorites were Freeze Flame Galaxy, which changes depending on whether you're in the lava or ice side of the galaxy, Space Junk, one of the most iconic orchestrated Mario tracks of all time, and finally, This is one of the greatest build-up tracks to a final battle in any video game ever, and that's what I love about Mario Galaxy 1. The story started and ended with a serious tone. You can even tell by the skyboxes that Mario Galaxy 1 took itself more seriously compared to the blue skies of Mario Galaxy 2, which is actually what gave Mario Galaxy 1 such a unique identity compared to the other Mario games, including Mario Galaxy 2. Now, Galaxy 2 still nailed its own atmosphere as well. Some of the best Mario Galaxy tracks came from this game. Puzzle Plant Galaxy has lived in my head rent-free for like half a decade at this point. It perfectly encapsulates the vibe of Mario Galaxy 2, a lighter, more whimsical take on parkouring in space as an Italian plumber. Cosmic Cove Galaxy is basically the Space Junk equivalent in this game, which is why it deserves a spot here. Maybe this is even the modern aquatic ambience or Sticker Brush Symphony. I don't know, it's just really calming, especially combined with the atmosphere of the level itself. Finally, World 3's theme is probably one of the most nostalgic nostalgic themes for me in gaming. Now, not only is the vibe of this world just incredible, the blue and green stars, comets passing all around. I mean, if there was a place I could just sit for the rest of eternity to look at the stars, it would probably be here. The music just adds to how at peace I feel here. And yeah, it's definitely a nostalgia thing, but man, it's really nice to finally just sit down and play these games again. The gameplay for the most part has remained untouched. Some cutscenes involving Galaxy 1 have been sped up. They removed the save button every time you collect a star. Instead, it autosaves now, which is a nice feature for sure. Saves speedrunners and people who collect footage like me time, so thanks Nintendo. My hard drive space appreciates it. Another time saver just simply comes from load times. Getting in and out of galaxies is much smoother now. I feel like this game shaved off maybe an hour or two of unskippable wait times with this release, which is definitely a privilege of owning a Switch 2, I know, but man, it's just such a snappier experience overall. Speaking of snapping, there are still quite a few camera issues within the game. It's really noticeable going into first person. You can see a cold Mario for a split second, which I get is to save memory, but wow, it's even more noticeable when he switches models now that the resolution is higher. Another weird side effect of this updated version is the camera in Mario Galaxy 1 snaps in the domes for a split second after obtaining a star, where they replaced the old save button with an autosave, but leaving a remnant of the manual save option with this visual glitch. I don't know if they just didn't notice or don't care. It's not detectable if you're not used to how the game was on Wii, but it's an odd visual glitch that does bug me personally a bit. Other than that, the stupid motion control missions are still annoying, even with the help of gyro controls. Galaxy 2 definitely handled it better. This mission specifically in Galaxy 1, just like, why? Otherwise, the moveset itself feels a bit stiff in modern day. I think the movement is still locked to the number of directions a Wii nunchuck had, so you can't just run in full 360 degrees like Mario Odyssey, which leads to me getting stuck running in a circle and having to move in a completely different direction to shoot out of it, which doesn't happen to me in any other Mario game. I'll die in ways that feel unfair to me sometimes, especially related to power-ups like the spring mushroom and rock mushroom specifically, combined with how stiff the movement is when you're doing specific platforming challenges and are required to be more precise in Galaxy 2. Don't get me wrong, this is Nintendo we're talking about. Mario Galaxy still feels great to control on the modern day with a great moveset for 2007. The moveset just feels even more limiting when using an actual controller rather than the Wii nunchuck. Power-ups are pretty hit or miss in Mario Galaxy 1. The timer on the ice and fire flower is very limiting as to what you can do with these power-ups. Freeze Flame Galaxy does a solid job at selling the novelty for both, but the timer does dampen my opinion on them just a bit. The bee mushroom is a pretty solid idea. It's completely bound to how they use it in terms of level design, and typically I prefer this power-up in 2D rather than 3D. But Galaxy 2 ultimately does more with this idea. The Boo Mushroom is pretty forgettable, all things considered. You can go through walls and float, but like there's very few instances where you use it in the first place in both Galaxy 1 and 2. Then we have the Spring Mushroom. This power-up is just a terrible design, but in the best, most infuriating way possible. It gives me such mixed emotions because every now and then you want a shit in your Mario games, but this power-up takes some serious practice for you to get used to. You will probably get pissed the first few times you have to use it. I can see why people hate this game simply because of these levels, but honestly, I think it's a perfectly unhinged power-up that Nintendo crafted from the depths of hell, but somehow fits right into Mario Galaxy regardless. Galaxy 2 made a couple of changes, with the first one being to scrap the ice flower completely. I'm gonna drop a hot take. I found the ice flower to be way more interesting than the fire flower. The skating aspect of Mario Galaxy 1 was one of the best movement types, and to just remove it completely seems like an odd decision. I didn't even mention how jank the fire flower aim feels since you can't run in full 360 degrees. It's fire when you're in flow state and start mowing down enemies though. The cloud flower is probably the best Mario Galaxy power-up, and it's not even close. The height you can get with this power-up, combined with how much Nintendo used it throughout the game, made it feel important and like it was tapped full of potential. Not only that, but the passive buff of floatiness with no timer made the power-up less of a gimmick and more like a change of pace. The rock mushroom is another power-up very dependent on the level design as to whether it's enjoyable or not. Sometimes the level is built around it so I don't get as disoriented, but with how fast it goes and the stiff camera makes for a bad combo sometimes. Great idea with some fun levels designed around it, but it definitely doesn't mesh with certain levels. I don't really have much to say about the drill other than it's okay with the puzzle levels surrounding it being mind-numbingly easy and just move to one spot and press X type of thing. Cool idea on paper, but to me, it just feels like a filler power-up to be honest. Finally, big shout out to Yoshi and his 2 power-ups. Those levels are seriously some of the best in the game, and Yoshi already added so much just by being able to flutter jump and eat everything in sight. Some of the best level designs were put into Yoshi-themed levels, which made me wish Yoshi had been in Mario Galaxy 1 from the start, but Yoshi is a fantastic addition to the sequel. Overall, Mario Galaxy is a masterfully designed duology with tons of unique and new ideas that were completely unheard of for the late 2000s. Nintendo's design philosophy has always been gameplay first, and it showed here with their in-depth gravity mechanics running on a souped-up GameCube. But there is one very inconsistent issue with this duology that I've been pondering on for a while. Mario Galaxy's connection between the 2 games has always been mishandled internally, at least from my perspective, and Nintendo actually tried to correct it with this re-release, at least somewhat. With Mario Galaxy 2, the story is just a retelling or redraft of the first game's story without Rosalina. Starship Mario is the replacement hub world that not only loads faster, it also has less space to travel, making going to the next galaxy quick and simple. But first, let's talk about what they add to Mario Galaxy 1. After you completed your first Comet Medal in Mario Galaxy 1, you'll unlock a slide after the epilogue. You can read it for yourself if you like, but this is basically a final message to the player pushing forward into the story of Galaxy 2. As most players who completed Galaxy 1 remember, the universe was reset after the final battle, but Mario still remembers everything, even if it was all deleted from existence. So either time went backwards and this is the same Star Festival as the first game, or we're another 100 years into the future. But even with this very odd inconsistency, Galaxy 2 takes a more lighthearted approach to its narrative. It's less cinematic in the way that it presents its story and basically just tells you to put the story in the back of your mind and just enjoy the masterful gameplay and level design. However, in the Switch 2 edition, just like how Rosalina got her backstory in the form of a storybook, Lubba got the same treatment with this re-release. The storybook can be found inside Starship Mario, next to the power-up collection. The story isn't centered around Rosalina anymore, but around Lumas named Mari and Lou, who look similar to the nihilist Luma from the Mario movie. However, they don't match the Luma's personality from the movie at all, so I think the theory is irrelevant. But just like Galaxy 1, the story is just as sad. The Luma twins lived their whole life together. One day, Mari turned into a star. Lou asked Rosalina when she would see Mario again, to which Rosalina replied she could return anywhere from tomorrow to 10,000 years from now. This caused Lou to become depressed for at least a century, and eventually became motivation for Lou to travel the universe in search of Mari. You can read the rest for yourself if you'd like. It's a solid story for a small amount of screen time it takes up. Ultimately, I wonder how this story is supposed to play into the Mario Galaxy movie, if at all. But why would they sell physical copies and have Rosalina holding it all the time if they weren't going to use it in their next blockbuster movie? Galaxy 2's new story does help bridge the gap between the new games more than before, but I also feel like Galaxy 2's overall lighthearted tone still contradicts how grim and existential that story was written to be. I'm still glad we finally got a backstory to Lubba though. I do appreciate Nintendo putting in some extra effort to add more story-related content to a game from 2010. However, as we know from Nintendo, it always comes with a price. And so, unfortunately, with every review I do, this might have to become its own section, considering pricing in gaming, and specifically the Nintendo space, has seriously gotten out of control. You really need the before you buy videos now, that's for sure. Mario Galaxy is a generational game series that everyone should be able to play and enjoy in today's day and age. If anyone remembers, for reference, both games were $20 each on the Wii. So, how much are they individually in today's day and age? Well, with the graphical upgrade and story content, $40 a piece. Holy shit, Nintendo, you did not just double the price of a digital product over a few upscaled textures and minute story content. If you buy the games as a 2-pack, you can save $10, but even $70 still feels like a lot. I think it's actually worth $50 if we're being real. The graphical upgrades deserve a slight price bump from the Wii U, but not double. We're used to this song and dance by now with Nintendo and Mario games though. I think all Mario sports games should be valued at $50 regardless, considering their lack of content. I think Luigi's Mansion 2 Up-Resed Edition should have been $40 like the original 3DS version. Mario Kart World being $80 doesn't need any further conversation. Mario Galaxy Amiibos are like $40 a pop. I would have bought both of them too if they were like $30, but these prices are seriously getting ridiculous and it's just not worth it anymore. My point is, save your money if you have to. Your economic situation is more important than buying an upscaled Wii game for the price of a brand new Switch 2 edition game. If you have a copy of either of the games on Wii, which I have both, you can legally just dump your games and put them on Dolphin and set the resolution to 4K with a texture pack without paying $70. Now, of course, so I don't get sued, I own all the games in my library. Feel free to peep game Nintendo, but y'all gotta stay safe out there. Use your games, your backups. Overall, I loved being able to replay the Mario Galaxy series in its highest official quality to date. The graphical improvements go a long way, combined with the new storybook content. This was a pretty solid re-release that probably could have been $10 to $20 cheaper, but that's Nintendo these days for you. There's still so much more to talk about with both these games in the future, but that's gonna wrap up this video. Let me know what y'all thought about this in the comments below, and subscribe so we can continue the road to 1K. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.